questions to help build ethical organizations and career. I came upon this trying to figure out what were some of the things that we needed to look at in order to be more ethical. And it's difficult to be ethical in some cases, in some settings, because there's a lot of pressure on us. There's a lot of pressure on us to perform, to raise money, and sometimes the pressure can be a little bit overwhelming. The first question we're going to be dealing with is, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? And that is as an organization. People are looking to us to do a lot, and they're trusting us. There's a lot of trust placed on us. So are we living by our mission statement? And it's really important that we are aware of our mission statement. Is it on public display? Is it in your office? Are your employees aware of it? Do you know what you're supposed to be doing explicitly? Is it on the back of your business card? That's a good place for your mission statement. Is your organization following it? Is it promoting it? And one of the nasty questions is there a secret mission? Some organizations have a secret mission. I can think of one organization started by a woman, a very, very good organization with a good mission, but the real thing is that she's employing all her children. I wonder sometimes if the secret mission of that organization is to help out her family rather than the families that they're supposed to be helping out. And I know that there has been friction with other employees who have been let go when they start asking questions. That's the type of thing that can be very, very difficult. Here's a mission statement, one of my favorite organizations, the American Bible Society. This is what they're about, and they know their mission, and they embrace their mission, and they don't shy away from their mission. They just make Bibles available. They've been around since the 1830s or longer, and they're a big organization, and they get a lot of money from a lot of donors. But they do not print up any commentary. They don't send out books on theology. They don't try to convert people to a specific religion. All they do is to make a Bible available to every person that they can possibly make it to. That is a very clear mission. And they really have never wavered from it. Second question, what percentage of your dollars are directed toward your mission? I know an organization that has a telethon every year, and it raises a couple $100,000, which is exactly the salary of the CEO. People have problems with that. How much do you spend on stewardship? How much do you spend on fundraising in general? In general, about 35 cents to $1 is, I think, what is pretty acceptable for fundraising in general. But you can spend a lot more than that on fundraising. I will tell you that there has been study after study after study made that shows that donors do not want an adorable blanket from the hospital or from the agency or a mug or a t-shirt. The only people who want t-shirts are participants in walks and special events and 5K runs. We spend money sometimes. I knew one organization that had a different premium For every single level of giving. You got a golf umbrella, I remember. If you gave $100, you got a coffee mug. If you gave 50, or you gave, so they were selling stuff, and people do not want that. When I was at United Way of Rochester, I was in charge of the de Tocqueville Society, and that was a society with for people who gave a minimum of $10,000 annually, individuals and couples. So it encompassed people who gave between $10,000 and $500,000 annually. And every year we had a dinner, and every year we gave them a print by a local artist that was worth about $120. And God bless her, Mrs. Wegman was my chairperson one year. And I said to her, Peggy, what do you think about these prints? And she said, John, they're all lined up in my closet downstairs. She says, I don't really want them. I says, do you think they'll be missed? She says, let's not give them out. Well, get a volunteer to say that. Thank God she said that. We didn't give them out, and they were never missed. People want their money going to the charity and not to fundraising and not to gifts. When I was at Salvation Army, I used to make the rounds, and I used to give everybody a $4 poinsettia, little poinsettia from Wegmans. And they would protest that I was spending money on. I said, no, I would lie. Lying works. I said they were donated, and the major just said to give them to our best friends. So there you go. And that $4 poinsettia meant the world to a lot of people. I would go visit elderly people and see 5 or 6 poinsettias, half of them dead, lined up on their windowsill. This is what it costs to raise a dollar. When you ask people about fundraising, they very often think of special events. You know, hopathons, walkathons, marathons, all kinds of things, special events. Special events are very expensive. They're down there at the bottom. Average, according to AFP, of 50 cents of gross proceeds. Now, that doesn't talk about the exhaustion of volunteers and staff that have to do with special events. And also, very often, it's 60 to 65 cents to raise a dollar. Special events are important. They're important for making noise, for in August, getting the camera crews out on the street to see what you're doing. But they're not the most efficacious means of raising money. The best way of raising money is capital campaigns and major gifts. I have to be honest and telling you that planned giving, while 25 cents per dollar raised is a good value, I have never spent that much on planned giving. And planned giving has been my primary focus during the most of my career. At the Salvation Army, we were able to get down to 17 cents to raise a dollar. So in order to reduce your fundraising costs, what you have to do is get more major and planned gifts. Direct mail acquisition, you can see it's $1.25 to $1.50 to raise a dollar with a new giver. However, renewals make it 20 to 25 cents to raise a dollar. So that is a good expenditure acquisitions. But once you get them, it's very efficient means of raising a dollar. Are you practicing good stewardship? That's a big ethical question. Do you keep your donors informed? Do you show financial accountability? One of the problems I have with religious organizations is that because they are very often sponsored by churches, they do not have to fill out a 990 form, which is required by the IRS. That's a shame because they really should fill those forms out to show financial accountability. And among some religious organizations, I have seen a lack of accountability and a little bit of graft, I hate to say. Appropriate recognizing gifts. That artwork was not appropriate. A simple tin Christmas ornament is appropriate. A bookmark is appropriate. When you're giving gifts to people, keep it very cheap and just a token. Do you have appropriate donor interaction? By appropriate, I mean, don't take Mrs. Snodgrass out to help her with her groceries. Do not drive her to see her attorney or her doctor. That is crossing the line. And your giving and your stewardship and your interaction with donors can sometimes be brought into question by their survivors. I see she gave you all this money. What were you doing? Who are you, by the way? And who is your organization? You have to keep an appropriate distance, but you have to keep appropriately close. Send cards. Send birthday cards. Birthday cards are extremely important, and it's not a huge expenditure. So our Valentine cards, we just love you for what you've been giving us. That type of thing. The Al Siegel Center sends out Independence Day cards because it has to do with folks with disabilities. So we try to have at the Al Siegel Center people who are becoming independent. So that's the twist on those cards. So make sure it's an appropriate donor interaction. Here's an important question that I'd like you to think about. Who are your customers? Who are the customers of your organization? This is a real important question. People who come into McDonald's to buy McDonald's food are the customers. People who go through the front doors of Walmart to purchase goods and services are the customers. Who are your customers? Think about it. Are they the people you serve? Sometimes. But I want you to see that very often for not-for-profits, your customers are not the people you are serving. They are more often than not receiving free services. Your customers are your donors. They are the people who are hiring you to do the work that they think is important and funding you. So let's get away from the word customers, which is rather crass and businesslike, and think of the resource sources who are making your organization financially stable and able to fulfill its mission. If most of your money comes from state and county government, that is your customers. And you better stay close to the legislators without becoming politically endorsing, and become close to the state and county legislators and the executives in those governments. Your customers are donors, and your allegiance has to be to them. Because quite frankly, if they stop giving you money, if they cut off your allocations, you may go out of business. That doesn't mean the people you're serving are not going to go away. but it may mean that you're going to go away. So that's an important thing to remember. Thank often, 4 or 5 times. Call or email someone within a day. It depends on how many donors you have. If you get 10 gifts a day, someone in your office can be sending an email on your behalf from maybe your email saying, we just got your gift, thank you. If it's $1,000 gift, maybe a phone call, we just got that, thank you. Official letter from the CEO within 3 working days. I came into an agency once where I was getting phone calls from donors saying, I haven't gotten a thank you letter. I was getting those phone calls in December. Not good. Studies have shown that the more quickly you thank a gift, the more surely it will be repeated. And when you thank someone immediately with a phone call or an email within a day, that's sending a message telling them that they are very important, that their giving is really noticed, and they will be reluctant not to renew that gift. It costs $1.25 to raise a new dollar and 35 to 25 cents to repeat the gift. A handwritten note at the bottom of your thank you letter is important. A gift from a client, a drawing from a child with disabilities, that doesn't cost much, but it means more than a $120 art print. Public recognition. Wouldn't hurt to put that up on your Facebook page, on your web page, monthly. Who gave monthly? And there should be a annual report, and the annual report should have your financials in there and a thank you and people giving at various levels. Special events, name tags. On the name tags, if I attended a special event for an organization that is in my will. They know they're in my will. They know I'm a member of the society that they have for people who remember them in their will. They should have had a little tag coming off my name tag that I was a member of the Gopher Society. Because it provokes recognition, and other people will be saying, what's the Gopher Society? Oh, that's because I remembered the Gopher Society in my will. That's important. If there are various giving levels of societies, make sure their name tags reflect that with a ribbon. If they're a board member, make sure they get a little ribbon on it. Those things are important. Have a VIP thankathon. Board members calling on donors to thank them for their gifts. It's, there's a lot of people, and you've heard them, members of your board, volunteers. I hate asking for money. All right? Do you hate thanking people? And they might say, no. Well, would you mind calling some people up just to thank them? They'd be willing to do that. And once they feel comfortable doing that, you may be getting some good solicitors. But ethically, you really need to thank people often and creatively. Here's something that I have found works. A January thank you letter. January 5th or 6th, when people are not getting solicited, when they are not getting emails, send them a letter with a copy of the thank you letter and say, I am including a copy of the thank you letter that you received at the time of your gift, should you need it for your tax records. donors love this. They love this. And they're hearing from you at a time when they're not hearing from anybody else. They remember this. It's another donor touch. It's another one of those 4 to 7 ways by which you can thank a donor. And it really works well. It doesn't cost you anything. So that is just a recommendation to give you some consideration. What are you doing about you? Are you taking care of yourself? That's an ethical issue. Are you healthy? Are you eating? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you giving your employer the best possible work that you can by remaining healthy and remaining educated? Are you joining AFP, the Estate Planning Council, the Certified CASE, the Advancement for the Council for the Advancement and Support of Education, Certified Advancement Professional from the American College? You need to join maybe the Bar Association to get professional knowledge. You have to be current. Things change. And you need to be current on fundraising issues, on fundraising laws, on fundraising practices. The budget which you put together needs to reflect educational opportunities for you. And if your CEO says, oh, we don't have money for that, recruit a development board and find a board member who will advocate for you. Say, you know, I really need to be current on what's new regarding direct mail. I'm wondering about all this direct mail around the presidential election, that they are talking about mail-in ballots. All of a sudden, mail-in voting has become real controversial. Will that controversy spill over into solicitations by charities in the year ahead? I don't know. But we need to be current on it. Have a development board. If you don't have a development council, if you do not have a development committee of the board, form a development board. Get some of your big donors on there and a couple of board members on there to advise you, to run problems by, to meet maybe just twice a year. It's a way of cultivating people. It's a way of keeping them informed and getting valuable feedback. You should have legal counsel. Nobody, no charity should be out there doing stuff without legal counsel. I have seen some things done. For example, we're going to have a raffle. Well, if you're going to have a raffle, you better be following the rules of chance set out by the state of New York. There are rules governing these things. And when I say you should have legal counsel, make sure it's not a divorce attorney or a corporate attorney or a real estate attorney. Make sure it's an attorney that knows something about fundraising or about estate planning, because only 4% of attorneys are experts in this. I'm fond of saying I have a couple of doctors. Actually, at my age, I have more than a couple of doctors. And because of my health, I have a lot of doctors. But Dr. Burkhart is not the same as Dr. Fife. Dr. Fife is my medical doctor. Dr. Burkhart is my dentist. I don't want Dr. Fife working on my mouth or Dr. Burkhart giving me an appendectomy. Make sure you have appropriate legal counsel. They should be on your board and you should be able to call them up and get some advice when you need it. You should never, ever be entering into plan giving negotiations or plan giving marketing without the benefit of legal counsel, because you can get in a lot of trouble by giving bad advice. Do you have a development policies? That's a huge ethical issue. Do you have a right to refuse gifts? Yes, you do. Make sure you tell people you have a right to refuse gifts, and these are the reasons why. You know, that's the old white elephant. The Indians used to give the Shah a white elephant, and he had to take care of that thing in case it would die. Do you have a thank you policy? Do you have cultivation reviews? You ought to sit down with staff and say, and staff only, and maybe the CEO, and say, we need to cultivate Mrs. Furbush. This is what we're doing. What else could we do? Are we getting too close to her? Are we doing too much with her? You need more wisdom than just you on those things. Real estate, great gifts. I've gotten some wonderful real estate gifts, but you better be careful. I have gotten several toxic waste dumps. And I know of one charity that unknowingly got a cemetery. You don't want to get those things because it's going to cost your charity an awful lot. Make sure you have an environmental audit. And down at the bottom, professional fees for gifts. Have the donor pay them. It's tax deductible. It should be part of the gift. Do not accept a former funeral home. Do not accept a former gas station. Do not accept a former dry cleaning establishment. You got to know these things. And it should be mortgage free, but there are ways around that. Again, you should have I've lost my screen. You should have legal counsel with regards to real estate policies. You should have a gift approval policy. The board approves gifts, not you. You don't want to make the donor angry, say our board said no. A plan giving policy. Do you have a minimum for a annuity? Many charities have a minimum for an annuity. They also have a maximum for an annuity. Do you have a trustee policy? Who serves as trustees? Probably not your organization. They probably don't have that capacity. Put it in the policy. We urge the trustee, we urge the donor and or their representative to serve as trustee of any planned gifts. Restrictions. We do not accept restrictions. Do you have a stock gift policy? You should have a stock gift policy. And one is that you sell the stock as soon as you get it. We do not retain stock. We sell it. We can sell it without incurring any capital gains taxes. I know a donor in Rochester, a big donor in Rochester, and she always insists, almost always, that you keep the stock because it's going to go up in value. The answer has to be no, and this donor has received that answer on more than one occasion. She knows better. She knows better, but she still tries to pull that. The more restrictive you are on a gift, the less tax deductible it is. So that needs to be communicated as well. This is always placed, this may be, and you've seen this in other presentations that I have done, this is maybe the most important piece of advice that I can give you today. At the bottom of any proposal for a major gift, at the bottom of any proposal for a planned gift, always put this P.S. As always, we urge our friends to contact professional advisors before making a major gift commitment. And I have included 2 copies of this letter for you to share with personal and professional advisors, because you do not want nephew Ted to be going through Aunt Phoebe's papers when she's dead and say, who the hell talked her into this $25,000 gift? Who did that? Here's the letter from the fundraiser. But you can point to the fact that, we had the discussion, but I urged her to discuss it with family and friends. If she did not, it's against my advice. Shame on her. This could save you and your organization an enormous amount of embarrassment. And this day, with family being very distant and family being very estranged, it behooves you to take measures such as this to make sure that your organization and you are ethically covered. You know the old adage, where there is a will, there's a relative. Develop a stewardship council. Ask your donors, ask about 3 of major donors, what do you think we should be doing to thank people for their giving? Get your PR person on that council as well. You got to educate people internally, as you found out, as I have found out. They don't know what you do. And sometimes you need to get some people on some of your development councils in order for them to become educated and get them to be educated and to buy into what you're doing. Again, legal counsel. And how about you? Do you have a professional mentor? I don't know about you, but when my first development job, I didn't know what I was doing. I had been a school teacher, and I had started out with an agency. At 26 years old, I had founded an agency in the Mohawk Valley, and I did not know exactly what I was doing. Ask someone in AFP if they will mentor you. Just someone that you can run things by. This is very important from an ethics viewpoint as well, because if they have had 10 to 20 years of development experience, they probably have some ethical issues of their own that they can help you with. How do you treat non-donor philanthropists? How do you treat your volunteers? Volunteers are donors. 70% of people who volunteer give money. How about neighbors? You don't know who's living next door to your agency or in the neighborhood. Have a party. Get to know the neighbors. If you can, get some of your clients, your consumers of your services to be there to, serve hot dogs or something, have a small picnic. You never know, some of those neighbors may be good donors for you. Donor family and friends. Encourage donors to bring family and friends. Many times people want to make large gifts because they want to educate their children and grandchildren about their giving. And you can have multi-generational gifts. So, when you honor a donor, make sure you say, hey, you got 20 people you'd like to bring? Yeah, I'd like to bring. Well, they're free. Bring them into we're going to honor you. We want you, family and friends, to be there. Employees. Don't overlook the janitor. Don't overlook the receptionist. They are people who are very important to your organization. And as I will show you in a moment, can be very important donors. Come for a tour and bring a friend or two. Expand, always expand the opportunities for people to be coming in to your circle of friendly givers. Take a little time and read this, speaking of janitors and employees.
Hey, John.
Yep.
Are you able to reshare your screen? I think it might have dropped.
Ooh. Yeah. I'm trying here. Can you see it now?
Nope. So you just hit that the share screen button at the bottom and then just select your PowerPoint.
Huh. I can't find the share screen button. When did we lose it?
Maybe just a few minutes ago, I think.
Is that on?
Perfect. Yep.
Okay. I was saying, don't discount any of these people. They are your future philanthropists. And then I put this story up there for you to read to yourselves to prove it. So here's a perfect example of somebody who was right under Monroe Community College's nose. And who was able to make the largest gift that they had ever received at that time. not someone you would think of. Buy the book if you have not purchased the book, The Millionaire Next Door. Your careful and thoughtful stewardship of these people is going to reward you immensely. In conclusion, I want to share this. I thought Robert Sharp Sr. was a character, and he had more sayings. He was an old shucks insuranceman from Memphis, Tennessee, and he started the Sharp Group and the National Plan Giving Institute. This was his ethics test, three-way test: gut, mother, and 60 minutes. First, gut. Does it feel right in your gut? Is what you're doing with this donor, is what you're communicating with this donor, is what you're asking this donor, does it feel right? Mother. Would you want a development officer talking to your mother with this proposal? Would you feel comfortable with your mother receiving this solicitation? And number three, how comfortable would you feel explaining your fundraising operation to a 60 Minutes film crew? Three very simple questions for ethical consideration. Okay, your questions. Do you have any? Comments? Things to share? You're all on mute.
John, if no one, this is Karen.
Hi.
If no one has any questions, or we can go back to the questions if they do, I just wanted to share with the group that I'm hoping you have received the information about AFP's scholarship program. We are, as a chapter, Global is helping us by giving us the opportunity to award 5 scholarships. And then we're also looking as a chapter to award an additional 5. So we have funds available for up to 10 scholarships. The application period is the end of October. October 31st is the deadline. And then we hope to make the decision at our board meeting in November. So we're going to move pretty quickly after that. So if you're interested, or if you know somebody who is not a member, or whose renewal is up, or who actually couldn't renew in the past year or something, please encourage them to go to our website and look at the scholarship program and apply. We're really excited about the opportunity to be able to share this with people. So thank you. John, I think you did a fabulous job.
Well, thank you.
John, thank you. It was great information. I really appreciate it. Some of it was a really great reminder of getting back to basics, and especially the part about thanking donors. So I really appreciate that.
Well, I think it's difficult right now too, because we're under so much pressure. You know, I'm not under any pressure because I'm retired, but and I'm happy to say that. But the year ahead is going to be very difficult, according to most folks. And this social distancing, I don't know what you're experiencing on special events and the like, but I imagine it's been very difficult.
Well, I know that we are averaging anywhere between 3 to 5 smaller events a month. And we have been doing some of them online, and some of them are actually in person. It's been a very interesting time for us, but we're just trying to stay positive and work outside of the box and doing more collaboration, I think, than ever before. I think that collaboration is key. And I've also had the pleasure of getting to know a lot more about other agencies as well. So, to the point of just calling strangers and saying, hey, I think that we have a similar, mission statement, or, part of our mission statement might work. And really, I've had the pleasure of working with some incredible people in the last 5 months. We have an event coming up with the Boys and Girls Club, for example, on
Great.
Halloween. So it's been really great. So if anybody out there has any interest in working with ACR Health on anything, we have a very active development department, and we would love to work together.
Boy, when this is over, our special event's going to be fun. You should all be planning for that post-COVID blowout event where people can come together without masks and let loose, because I think people have a lot of pent-up isolation that they're going to want to socialize once this thing is over. And that's an opportunity for people to start thinking about what to do with that.
Great. All right, does anybody have anything else they want to share? Or John, do you have anything you'd like to share? Anything else?
I do not.
Just wanted to share Mo's comment because I wasn't sure if everyone saw her comment about the award that they were passing on from year to year, that she said was kind of ugly, but people really loved that, which I think is such a good point. I know I've worked with a lot of organizations that have spent so much money on year-end gifts, and it's always like a total gut punch because you're getting these donations and then you're spending such an exorbitant amount of money when really that's not what they're after. And that's just a really good reminder from John and from Mo that it's the little things that they really like. Someone's not giving to get a gift back from a nonprofit. That's not the reason for their gift. So I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that comment because it hit close to home for sure.
It's really interesting. I also feel like, though, we have kept some of our incentives for our virtual runs only because we feel there is a value in having those shirts with our logo out in the community too. Mm-hmm. So they've been a little bit difficult to kind of get away from, and our donors have been around for so long. Some of them have actually done these runs for years and collect those t-shirts. Unlike the award for blowout, which is exactly what that ugly award was for. It was actually my grandmother's vintage blow dryer, and I literally mounted it on a piece of wood and painted it. And people, for some strange reason, it's the thing that everybody wants to walk away with, and so it just gets passed on from year to year, and we put placards on it. So it's just been very fun to watch that.
5K runs, people come for the t-shirts.
Sometimes. And then sometimes people, we do have an opt-out option. So if people don't want to, see that money wasted on a t-shirt, we do give them that option. But there are people that, fundraise a lot of money and we want them to take away that t-shirt. We want them to have something.
Yeah. And it's good advertisements for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I quite honestly, I'm looking forward to a day when, nonprofits don't even have to exist, that people just do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And we don't have to do these events anymore. They simply just write the check because they know that the work is valuable.
One thing I have not understood, and I thought it was a perfect opportunity, is why not-for-profits have not made up tons of face masks and given them for free, sent them out to free to donors and clients and everybody else, saying we want you to be safe. That's great advertisement.
That's true.
Walking around Wegmans with a Red Cross face mask. My alma mater, I just got something, Niagara University, you can buy them for $10. Hell, they should be giving them out for free, just for the publicity. It's terrific.
That's not a bad idea. They are costly, and right now we don't, our goal is to not spend anything. We feel like spending anything right now is kind of disrespectful to our donors, just because we don't want to be spending that kind of money. So it's really hard, and that's one of the reasons why we're on a spending spree. We do, if anyone needs any kind of masks in the community, we have masks available at our front door. So if anyone walks in or needs something or just knocks on our door, we will hand them that, as well as food from the food pantry. So it's been very interesting.
Good.
That's a great idea, John.
Well, having no other questions, feel free to contact me at any time. I'm usually up by 10 o'clock.
Still
Thanks,
rubbing
John.
it in.
Rubbing it in.
And I'd be happy to help anybody with any questions you might have regarding this or anything else.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Bye-bye.
Bye.